How's everyone doing today? I've got a Pokemon Online UU match. This is a fairly old match, so I've been meaning to upload it for a little while, but anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So, I lead off with my Rhyperior as he leads off with his Registeel, and I figured that he wouldn't want to take a fighting move, so he would change out, so I just took my chance to set up the rocks, and I really forget why exactly I stayed in, because that Shaman really could have fucked my day up with, a grass move or anything, but I was just going for the Toxic. And I just go ahead and send it out finally into my Honchkrow because I knew, it had the immunity to the Earth power. And I figured that he would want to change out, so I go for the Pursuit. Wasn't sure if he was choiced in some way, so he didn't have any alternative moves, but he probably didn't have anything that would be good against Honchkrow anyway. And he sends out a Zapdos, to which I send out my Rhyperior because an obvious T-Bolt was pretty obvious if you ask me, and I really wanted to have the Stealth Rock set up mainly for the Zapdos because those are usually fairly useful against it. He sends out his Swampert and I just go for the Toxic, which was a good thing because Swamperts can be a pain in the ass to get rid of unless you have a grass move. So I sent out my Suicune because I wasn't too sure if he was going to go straight for the Waterfall, but I figured that if he did, which was still pretty likely, that Suicune could take one and stall him for a little bit. I switched right back out into my Chandelure, predicting the change into Shaman, and this time I predict his change back to Swampert, so I just go for an Energy Ball, which just annihilates the Swampert. That was sort of a small series of a few risky moves, but anyway, he goes into his Darmanitan, and I didn't really know exactly what it was going to do. I was kind of predicting the Earthquake, which really would have probably knocked out my Chandelure, and my Ambipom took it okay. He goes for the Pursuit because I figured he would change out, and this time he sends out his Shaman, and I figured that I could easily knock it out with a U-turn, and of course that does make me have to change. I think I go into Rhyperior. Yeah, I send out my Rhyperior. Because I figured that he was, I didn't really know what he was going into, but I figured Rhyperior was a safe bet now that his Shaman was gone, but he ends up having an HP that was probably grass, water, maybe ice, and I go into my Ambipom, and I go for the Fake Out, almost knocks it out. He flinches, of course, and then I'm pretty sure I go for U-turn, because that's very typical. Yeah, I just go for the U-turn, which barely finishes it off, but nonetheless, it does. And so I have to change him back out into Suicune, because I figured now that Shaman and Zapdos are gone, it's good to send out my Suicune. And I didn't really want to take a T-Bolt from Registeel in case he knew it, because I've seen a few that have it, I think. And he goes for the Stealth Rocks, I guess predicting my change out. And then he changes out into his Honchkrow, and I had just used Shadow Ball because I really didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what to do. And then I sent out my Heracross, which was kind of a risky move because he could have gone for a flying move, but the Sucker Punch, I figured he could take it okay, but he actually took more damage than I was expecting from it, with having, it being resisted or whatever. And so I just go for the Facade now that my Flame Orb had been activated, and his Darmanitan ends up outspeeding me, which probably means that it was Scarfed, because I want to say my Heracross was Scarfed. So I would imagine his is. I think I have like full speed EVs and he's Scarfed, so he can outspeed a lot of things in the UU tier, but I'd imagine, his was Scarfed as well. And so anyway, he sends out his Registeel, and I go for the Low Kick on my Ambipom, and he ends up actually getting rid of my Ambipom in a few turns with some Seismic Tosses, but then it's pretty obvious how it ends. I end up changing out into my Chandelure once we're done kind of going back and forth with this for a little bit, and I end up just going for an easy Flamethrower to finish off the Registeel and finish up the match. Anyway, that is the end of this battle. It was a pretty decent one. The opponent had some good ideas going on, and anyway, I would like to thank you all for watching. Hope you have a nice day, and goodbye!